Hello to all. I am Dr. Alkesh Agrawal, and in this lecture that is based on random variables and processes part 1, I'll mainly discuss about the definition of random variable. Then I'll discuss about cumulative distribution function, which is defined on a random variable. Then I'll discuss about the probability density function, which is again defined on a random variable. Then we will calculate some mathematical formulations, that is expectation value of random variable, expectation value of a function of random variable. Then I'll discuss how to calculate moments and what are moments, what are central moments, and how to calculate different order central moments. Then I'll discuss about the joint cumulative distribution function and probability density function. Then I'll discuss about the joint moments and how to calculate different order joint moments. Then we'll discuss about the central joint moments. Then I'll discuss about what is coefficient of correlation, and finally as a theorem we'll calculate the mean of a sum of random variables. Here are some reference books that include Communication Systems by Simon Haken and Principles of Communication System by H. Taub and D.L. Schilling. So to start with, first we'll discuss some basic concepts that include what is a probabilistic experiment. So we have two very common examples of tossing a coin and rolling a dice. These are two very prominent examples of probabilistic experiment, that is an experiment whose outcomes are probable in nature. So when we toss a coin, we there can be a head or a tail with probability 1 by 2, 1 by 2, and if we roll a dice, then we have six outcomes with equal probability of 1 by 6. So it can be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So here we have taken an example of tossing a pair of dice. So these are all possible outcomes, and the set of all the possible outcomes of a probabilistic experiment is being termed as alphabet. So we have an alphabet that includes all the possible outcomes when we are tossing a pair of dice. So these outcomes are the first one is the number on first dice, and second number is the number on second dice. So these outcomes are 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 6. Similarly, it can go up to 6, 6 and 1, 6 and 2, 6 and 3, 6 and 4, 6 and 5, and 6 and 6. So total outcomes are in all 36. So let us define what is a random variable. So in a very common language, a random variable is to signify a rule by which a real value is assigned to each possible outcome of a probabilistic experiment. That is, if we have a set of probabilistic outcomes, so each probabilistic outcome, if can be mapped onto some real value through a rule, then it becomes a random variable. So let us again discuss, if through some rule we can map the outcomes of each probabilistic experiment onto some real value, we can define a random variable. So here we can see a very we are defining a random variable for this experiment where we are tossing a pair of dice. So here you can see x is the notation, x lambda ij is a notation of a random variable. It's only a notation, but when we bound it with a rule, the rule is I plus j. What is I plus j? That is sum of the numbers on both the dice. So now this becomes a random variable. Then what is this rule? That is, with this rule, each possible outcome lambda ij, so each possible outcome which is denoted by lambda ij is mapped onto the numbers from sum 2 to sum 12. That is these are the sum 1 plus 1 is 2, then 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 1 is 3, and so on. So you can see that with this rule, each possible outcome, and outcomes are being denoted by lambda ij, they are mapped onto a real number from sum 2 to sum 12. Here I have tabulated. So we have sum 2. With sum 2 we have only one outcome, total probability 1 by 36. Sum 3, with sum 3 we have two outcomes, you can see in this table. With sum 2 we have only one outcome. With sum 3 we have two outcomes. With sum 4 we have three outcomes, 1 3 2 2 3 1. With sum 5 we have four outcomes, 1 4 2 3 3 2 4 1, and so on. So like this, I have tabulated, you can see. So with sum 6 we have 5 outcomes with total probability 5 by 36. With sum 7 I have 6 outcomes with total probability 6 by 36. With sum 8 we have 5 outcomes, 5 by 36. With sum 9 we have 4 outcomes, 4 by 36. With sum 10 we have 3 outcomes with total probability 3 by 36. With sum 11 we have only 2 outcomes with total probability 2 by 36. And with sum 12 we have 1 outcome with probability 1 by 36. So here you can again understand we have this a random variable. This is the rule where x is a random variable, is a notation of a random variable. Lambda I just stands for the outcomes and I plus j is the rule. So once we define a random variable, we can define two different functions on a random variable. One is called cumulative distribution function and one is called probability density function. The notation for cumulative distribution function is capital F with subscript of random variable capital X within brackets small x. What is small x? Is the value attained by this random variable. For probability density function, it is denoted by small f with subscript capital X, which is a random variable. Within brackets, we have small x, that is the value attained by the random variable x. Now, let us discuss about cumulative distribution function. So, mathematically, it is defined as probability that x lambda is less than equal to x, that is the value attained by the outcome should be less than equal to small x. What is small x over here is the sum from 2 to 12, and x lambda, these are the outcomes. So I have taken certain examples. Suppose you want to calculate the cumulative distribution function for sum 3, so that will be equal to the probability of outcomes with sum 2 plus the probability with the outcomes is sum as 3. So the outcomes with sum 2 or the events, the probability of events with sum 2 is only 1 by 36 because we have only one outcome, and the probability of outcomes with sum 3 is 2 by 36. So in all we have 3 by 36. Similarly, we can calculate the CDF function for sum 4. So here you can see we have to add, right? So starting from sum 2 plus sum 3 plus sum 4. So like this, what we get final value is 6 by 36. So in the value in CDF function for calculating the value of sum 4, we have also added the value of the sum 3, all the outcomes with sum 3 and the probability value. So it comes out to be 6 by 36. So that is why it is being termed as cumulative distribution function. That is, in order to calculate the next value, all the previous values will be added up. So like this, a stage will come that it will saturate to a maximum value of 1. So this this nature you can see in this figure. This is the figure you can see. So what you are seeing over here is it is cumulating, and it's saturated at value 1. It is going on increasing and saturated to 1. So this is the, because of this cumulative nature, it is being termed as cumulative distribution function. Now we have a different value, different properties of cumulative distribution function. That is, uh, this cumulative distribution function, it is bounded from 0 to 1. So you can see it is, the lower limit is 0 and the maximum value is 1. So you can see it is bounded from 0 to 1, or you can see f of minus infinity is 0 and f of plus infinity is 1, the same thing. And also if f of x1 is less than f of x2, it will imply that x1 is less than x2. You can see over here, that is f of 3, or f of x of 3 is less than f of x4. Okay, it comes out to be 3 by 36 and it comes out to be 6 by 6 because 3 is less than 4. So here you can see, you can prove this property, and you can see this is the nature of a cumulative distribution function. Now let us discuss about the probability density function. So what is probability density function? Is the differential value of cumulative distribution function. Or you can see these are individual strength. So here you can see all the outcomes with sum 2 is only 1. All the outcomes with sum 3 is 2. So it comes to be 2 by 36. So you can see the total probability of the outcomes with different sum gives you the value of probability density function. So you can see the graph, the value is increasing at this point and then it is decreasing because these are the individual strength. It has only one outcome, then we have two outcomes with some three, we have three outcomes with some four, and so on. So you can see over here, so this is the graph of probability density function, which is increasing and going at a certain peak value, and then it is coming down. So this is a general nature of a probability density function, which is being plotted for this particular example of tossing a pair of dice. Again, we have two different properties of probability density function, which is tabulated over here. So we have that f of x6 is greater than equal to 0. That it is always positive, it can never be 0. And second is the area under this curve, that is minus infinity to plus infinity, f of xx dx is equal to 1. So that is the area under this curve is equal to 1. So these are two important properties. Now let us come to some mathematical formulations. The first is expectation value. So this is the notation mu x, because it is defined over random variable capital X, or it is also being denoted as x e of x. That is, e is the statistical expectation operator, and this is a random variable which is defined as minus infinity to plus infinity small x. What is small x? Is the value attained by this random variable capital X. Fxx, what is ffxx? Probability density function. This is the small formula through which we can calculate the expectation value for a random variable x. You can see this mean value. If the mean value is 0, then the center of gravity, what it says, that mean value locates the center of gravity of the area under the probability density curve of the random variable. So it signify this particular statement. Then another is if we have a variable which is a function of random variable. Here x is a random variable and y is a function of random variable gx. So if you want to calculate expectation of y by that formula, we have to write minus infinity to plus infinity small y, that is value attained by this random variable capital Y, f of y dy. But since uh, we directly cannot calculate ey because we have a variable which is a function of random variable gx. So how we'll write? The expectation of y will be expectation of g of x. The small y will be replaced by g of x into f of y will be replaced by f of xx dx. So this is how you will calculate the expectation value for a variable which is again a function of random variable. Now let us understand what are moments. So the nth moment of probability density function is defined by this formulation, that is expectation of x power n, where x power n is called the nth order moment, and it is defined as minus infinity to plus infinity small x power n. What is the small x? Is the value attained by the random variable capital X. Again, fxx, it is a probability density function dx. So we have different cases. If we put n is equal to 1, if we put n is equal to 1, we have minus infinity to plus infinity small x f of x dx. What is this? This is nothing but the mean value that we have already calculated. If we put n is equal to 2, what we get is minus infinity to expectation of x square, that is called the second order moment, which is minus infinity to plus infinity x square fx x dx. So that is called mean square value. So first order moment is mean value and the second order moment is the mean square value, that you have to understand the difference between the two. So many times the mean value comes out to be 0. In that case we take the mean square value, because squared value will never be 0. Then comes the central moments. So we calculate central moment with respect to the mean. So here is the general formulation: expectation of x minus mu x power n, where x is the random variable, mu x is the mean value that we have already understand in the previous slides, power n. So this is called nth order central moment. So in general it will be defined as minus infinity to plus infinity x minus mu x power n f of x x d. So this is the value attained. Small x is the value attained by this random variable. Mu x is the mean value. It will be certain, constant value, power n. This is the probability density function f of x x dx. So again, if we put n is equal to 1, what we will get, this is called, we will get the first order central movement. We put n is equal to 1. Now we can bifurcate this whole integral into two. One is x f x x dx plus this is multiplied by this, then we have mu x f f x dx. So it should be minus sign plus minus. So what is this? This is mu expectation of x or mu x, and if we take this mu x as constant, so we have already discussed that minus infinity to plus infinity f of x x dx is equal to 1. So this whole value will be 1. What we'll get is expectation x minus mu x. So this is also mu x, this is also mu x minus mu x is 0. So first order central moment comes out to be 0. This is a final result. If we calculate second order central moment, then you can see that this is we'll replace n is equal to 2. So we have x minus mu x power 2 fx x dx. We'll use that square formula. So we have x square plus mu x square, then minus 2x mu x. So we'll get three different integrals. If we solve it, we have x square fx x dx is the second order moment. Now this from this minus infinity to plus infinity f of x x ds, it comes out to be 1. So what we get is mu x square. From here also minus infinity to plus infinity f x x dx will be 1. So out of this integral, what we get is x will be taken through this. So we have minus infinity to plus infinity x f f x, which is mu x. So we have 2 mu x into mu x is 2 mu x square with minus sign. So finally what we get is expectation of x square minus e square x. So this is another notation for this is called second order central moment, sigma x square, which is expectation of x square minus e square x, which is again a standard value for second order central moment. Or you can see, now we'll come to the concept of joint CDF and PDF. So when we have two random variables x and y, so this notation f of x y, where x and y are two random variables with small x and small y are the value attained by these random variables. So it will be defined as probability that x is less than equal to small x and y is less than equal to small y. If we see the definition, so we can write it. It is x is less than equal to small x, so it will be minus infinity to x. It is y less than equal to y, it will be minus infinity to y. So we have written joint PDF. So to define joint CDF, we are adding joint PDF f of x y dx dy. Okay, now another important thing, if x and y random variables are statistically independent, so this this f x y x comma y can be written as in terms of product of individual, this can be written in terms of independent probability density functions. So if we replace this value into this, we have individual integrals. So f x y is minus infinity to x f of x x dx to minus infinity of y f of y dy. This is the condition when x and y random variables are statistically independent. If this joint CDF can be written in terms of a product of individual probability density functions defined over random variable x and random variable y. Then we'll discuss joint moments. Joint moments means expectation defined over joint random variables x bar I and y bar k. This is the general, ith and kth order. So we mathematically defined as minus infinity plus infinity minus infinity plus infinity x bar small x bar I small y bar k. So this small x and small y are the values of random values attained by these random variables capital X and capital Y. Then we have this joint PDF function dx dy. So if a special case, if we take I is equal to k is equal to 1, so it will be x power 1 y power 1. So this value will be x and y into, this is the joint PDF into dx dy. So this particular formulation is being termed as correlation between x and y. Correlation between x and y. So this is the standard value that we derive from these joint moments. Then we have joint central moment. So that is called covariance. Covariance between x and y. So how we defined it? Expectation of x minus mu x into expectation of y minus mu y. If we multiply these two, we'll get expectation of xy minus x into mu y minus y into mu x plus mu x into mu y. If we calculate it using the integral integrations, finally what we get is expectation of xy minus mu x mu y. So this is the end result of covariance of xy, provided that x and y are statistically independent. This we have to see, that we have already discussed. Finally, what is coefficient of correlation? So after calculating different mathematical formulations, we have finally coefficient of correlation, which is defined as covariance of xy upon variance of x and variance of y with under root. So we know that how we have defined covariance of xy. We have covariance of xy, so we have written expectation of x minus mu x into y minus mu y. And what is variance of x is expectation of x square minus e square x, into what is variance of y is expectation of y square minus e square y. And together we have this coefficient of correlation. Now its value is very important. If its value is equal to 0, it means x and y random variables are highly uncorrelated. If its coefficient of correlation comes out to be 1, it means these random variables are highly correlated. Then there is another article, then how to calculate the mean if we have a sum of random variables z, which is x plus y. So x and y are two random variables, and that is defined as x plus y. So how we can calculate the mean? So by formula we have mu z, because this is in terms of two random variables, so we have double integration minus infinity to plus infinity minus infinity to plus infinity. So we have x plus y into joint PDF f of x y x y dx dy. Now we'll bifurcate into two different integrals. So in one we have x f x y x y dx dy plus y f x y x y dx dy. So we are using the concept of statistically independent random variables. So this f x y x comma y can be replaced by this individual probability density functions. So we have written like this. Now this whole is again divided into two integrals, one with x into fxx dx and one with fy y dy. We know that this value will be 1 because of the property of probability density function. Similarly here also we have replaced by this value. So one integral we have yf of y dy into f of xx dx. This whole value again will be reduced to 1. So when this is reduced to 1, what we get is this, which is equal to mu x, and when this is reduced to 1, we have this integral which is equal to mu y. So mu z, it comes out to be mu x plus mu y. So that is, if a random variable is the sum of two random variables, the mean value will also come out to be the sum of the mean of random variable x and random variable y. So this is all about this lecture. Thank you.